What's up, folks? I'm back with another reaction, back with some more Erasure, and we're going back to their 1988 album, The Innocents, their third studio album. I was very excited when I got this, and I got it basically at the beginning of this deep dive and rediscovery of Erasure, a group I knew from my youth, but which, again, it was sort of a glancing involvement or interaction. I only knew a few tunes, and even though I really did enjoy them, for whatever reason, I didn't end up getting their tapes the way I got a lot of Depeche Mode tapes in the 80s, so it's been nostalgic, but it's also been this newfound exploration of great joy, because again, there's not a single tune I've heard so far that I'm not enthusiastic about, and some more than others, certainly, but I'm just really enjoying their catalog. I love the vibe of their tunes, even when they sing. And someone was commenting that, they agree about this, but that, there's a lot of tunes where they get at heartache and pain, even feelings of like betrayal or being used by someone or whatever, but they're like bright and they find kind of like the positive, and even sometimes lyrically, like it'll be that sort of context or atmosphere, but there'll be a line about like, I still want to believe in this, or I still want to make it work, and I still have feelings for you, and so on. So it's like, even in like tough emotional relationship related circumstances, it's like Erasure songs are trying to get at the sort of like positive aspect of intimacy and vulnerability, and interpersonal emotions, including romance and love. So I really do enjoy their songs, and I love the fact that they can, sort of find a bright sonic place to talk about sort of painful emotional things. It's really cool. Experiences, I should say. Things is such a generic word, right? It's like saying stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but it's just a placeholder word that like is in lieu of other words with more descriptive qualities. So let's just take a thing and throw it out the door. But yeah, we're up to Witch in the Ditch, which I'm very curious about this phrase. Now, witch, historically, mythologically, it relates to cantankerous women who perhaps have nefarious purposes and summon occult forces to achieve their aims and so on. Although historically, like the way that people who were accused of being witches were persecuted, it was often like cantankerous old like women who were like inconvenient to someone or whatever, and they'd accuse them of being a witch and go before the the clerical authorities and so on, and there were really sort of arcane and ultimately nonsensical process by which the identity of someone's witch status was confirmed or denied. But yeah, bottom line, like in the sort of like public culture and like consciousness, witches tend to refer to nefarious, like antagonistic female characters who have sort of malfeasance in mind, shall we say. Now, obviously, in the ditch generally refers to someone or something that is dead. It's not alive anymore, it's run its course, it's garbage. You've thrown it out. Just throw it in the ditch. That's the best place for it because there's no use for it anymore. So witch in the ditch, it suggests maybe a nefarious person. Now, witch it could be not necessarily a woman. Like it could be used, for the way people use the word snake, where it's like, oh, it's like someone who like you really can't trust, and they're ready to betray people in the pursuit of their own aims and so on. But yeah, like I said, witch in the ditch, without any other information or all other things being equal, suggests a nefarious person who has been tossed out and is no longer impeding the path of or haunting the life of the first person, the narrator, whoever that might be. So again, it might not have anything to do with that. It might just be sort of like a clever little like rhyme in some other sort of like thematic area. So we'll have to see, but let's get to it. This is Erasure, Witch in the Ditch, from their 1988 album, The Innocents. And away we go.
No, I would never step into your shoes or dance in my chamber without you.
My chamber?
And I'm praying for a place I can dwell in, a place where our love can be true.
Okay.
Yes, it was you,
Oh.
my love, that made me turn around. Yes, it was
A
you.
lot of emotion in that synth work.
Turn me upside down.
It's like a line from Who Needs Love Like That? figured out what this is about. Bye bye, Maggie. I'm unsure. Again, Vince's bass lines just have this like living texture to them.
Yes, it was you, my love, that made me turn around. Yes, it was you, my hair, that turned me upside down. Were we meant to be forgotten? Lay down your sweet head and cry. We'll live in dreamland tonight. Oh, come on, leave you a faithful. Lay down your sweet head and cry. Into the valley of light. Were we meant to be forgotten? Lay down
There's a real kind of like marching forward, like optimistically feel to the sonics. It's just this like steady pulse, like and forward progression type of feel. To the Valley of Love? What was that? The Valley of something. It's funny, like, I doubt this is relevant, but like, something about the sonic quality of this one had sort of like a circus or carnival feel to it. Like, it had this kind of like, you know, bright lights and walking around and exciting things sort of feel. And again, like, you know, sort of like this forward looking kind of optimistic feel, which, you know, I don't know why, but like in the last moment it was making me think of like the visual setting again of like a circus or a carnival. Now I doubt that has anything to do with sort of the overall thematic use of the circus as the album title, but it was like a weird sort of crossover in terms of like a visual image, in terms of that song sort of just suggesting that to me on the way out the door. But again, there was a moment there where I thought like maybe Witch in the Ditch is like, you know, we're moving past the sort of conservatism of, you know, Margaret Thatcher and sort of that whole sort of social cultural scheme, if you will. But then like shortly after that it was, you know, it seems like a lot of the lyrics are directed at a potential partner or like, you know, someone who shares the condition and sympathies of the narrator. But like I said, the actual line about like, you know, the heels of the witch are in the ditch, it felt like maybe like, yeah, we're getting past that like, you know, hyper sort of like narrow and sort of not inviting, not welcoming, and not inclusive form of government and society and so on. But again, like the latter third of the tune made me second guess, you know, in that moment what I thought I was maybe onto. So let me know if there is something to that, or whether it's not really about that and it's just more about you know, him speaking to, you know, a lover or you know, a potential lover, and it's more just about the relationship and sort of emotions more directly. But yeah, like I said, there was a moment there where I thought like, oh, I think I see where they're going with this. So and again, 88, you know, it is, you know, the end of the Reagan 80s certainly. So yeah, I was just for a moment wondering if that's where that was going. But either way, let me know what you think of this one. I'll say like sonically, maybe to be like 1% critical, it didn't stand out to me as much as some of the others. There were a couple elements. There was that like real kind of like like tonal kind of like epic melody that was, especially I noticed it near the beginning, that I think I said had a lot of emotion. That element did stand out, and of course Vince's bass lines in whatever articulation, they always do stand out. Again, but to force myself to, maybe sort of like be like 1% more critical when I'm going through the Erasure reactions, instead of just saying, oh, like, I love it and I love it and I love it, which I do. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that, but sonically maybe it didn't quite stand out as some of the others, like, for example, Victim of Love. So yeah, let me know what you think. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.